Today we are here to discuss the Alaska bypass mail delivery. Our goal is to see if the current bypass system is really the most cost-effective way for the Postal Service to subsidize the cost of packages for delivery to rural and outlying areas in the State of Alaska, and talk about whether it is also the most economical way for the Alaskan people. We will also discuss a number of potential reform options for the bypass system that could provide the cost effectiveness that the Postal Service needs and enable a greater benefit to be able to be passed along to rural Alaskans. The bypass system was first designed in 1972 as a way to save the Postal Service money and improve service to isolated villages throughout the State of Alaska. Under the system, instead of large parcel orders being processed through the normal Postal Service infrastructure, the entire process is run and managed by private air carriers throughout the State. Over the last several decades, bypass mail has evolved into the most widely used way to ship many foods and commodities to the rural areas of the State on large, several hundred-pound pallets that are shrink-wrapped. As a result, bypass mail doesn't look at all like the mail we have in the other 49 states. Under the current system, bypass orders must be at least 1,000 pounds. This differs greatly from the Postal Service policy outside of Alaska, which prohibits parcel posts weighing more than just 70 pounds. Once the 1,000-pound bypass order is placed, it is fulfilled at warehouses in Anchorage or Fairbanks, and completed orders are grouped together on any number of pallets. From there, the pallets are handed off directly to private air carriers, who are then responsible for the transportation and final delivery of the shipment. The air carriers are paid for their service based on rates set by the Department of Transportation. It is one of the last remaining vestiges of the government setting rates for airlines. The Postal Service has no control over these rates and no power to contract with more efficient service providers. It may only pay the applicable rate to each air carrier that has met certain statutory qualifications. With little power to control cost, the bypass program only covers about 30% of its cost. In the last fiscal year, the Postal Service lost more than $70 million operating the bypass system. In D.C. speak, that may not sound like a lot of money, but you multiply it over the 40 years of the program, we are talking close to $3 billion. Today's bypass mail system is tightly governed by lengthy statutes that create significant barriers for entries for new air carriers and deliberately discourage competition. The ostensible goal of this regulation is to allow air carriers to feel secure in markets and allowing them to feel comfortable in purchasing larger, more efficient aircraft without fear of being outcompeted by new, more efficient competitors. However, a November 2011 report by the IG, Inspector General of the Postal Service, has cast doubt on whether the bypass program is operating ideally for the Postal Service or for the rural Alaskan. Specifically, the IG audit concluded that the current system subsidizes the Alaskan aviation industry, is made up of shipments that would normally be non-mailable elsewhere in the nation, and appears to fail at reducing the cost of goods for rural Alaska, with the savings of the program largely diverted to a wide variety of other commercial interests within the State. Today we will hear testimony from representatives of many of the key stakeholders in the current system: the Postal Service, the Department of Transportation, and 2 representatives of the Alaska aviation industry. But first, we will hear from some of the elected representatives here in Washington from Alaska. I thank the witnesses and look forward to a spirited discussion on how we can make this important program better.